I'm so excited about the first book that I chose. It's a fun story that rhymes. It's called PetBoy by Keith Graves. The reason I chose this book is because its message is so important. All of us have been learning the importance of developing good social and emotional skills. It's not only good to build our brain power, but also very important to build our character. We've had anti-bullying activities, we've talked about controlling our emotions, and we've read books and talked about kindness and how to treat others. Sharing, getting along with our friends, being good sports, and listening to others are just some of the ways we can make the world a better place. We have been focused on finding empathy, because if you don't have it, then all the other character-building activities are more difficult. Empathy is putting yourself in someone else's shoes and understanding how they feel. At the beginning of the book, Stanley is heartless and irresponsible. Let's find out how he changes to become a better Stanley. Stanley collected pets. He purchased them in singles and matching colored sets. Big or small, dry or wet, he loved to buy new pets. He studied each one carefully and played for it a while. Then he locked it in a cage and stacked it in a pile. On Tuesday, Stanley's favorite pet was his giant albacore. By Wednesday, all the new was gone. Stanley soon grew bored. He's reading Pet of the Month magazine. "Come play with us," his lonely pets chirped and barked and purred. "Feed us, pet us, take us out." Stanley didn't hear a word. He wanted something unique that could swim and fly and hop. So he looked around and finally found an undiscovered shop. Far Out Pets, we deliver. Everywhere Stanley looked, the weirdest creatures met his gaze. Snakes with wings and 7 eyes and singing manta rays? Wow! What do we have here? Asked the man with turquoise ears. "I'm sorry if I startled you. Please put aside your fears." I'd like to buy a pet," said Stanley. "One with many skills. My old pets bore me with their tricks. I'm looking for some thrills." "I like a thrill as well," said the man, glancing from shelf to shelf. "I trade in quirky oddities, rather like yourself." Uh-oh. A blazing yellow laser zapped Stanley between the eyes. His legs wouldn't run. His body was stunned. He was completely immobilized. The man threw Stanley in a cage on his galactic rocket ship. They blasted off with a sonic boom, and into space they zipped. A sonic boom faster than the speed of sound. Over spiral nebulae through cold uncharted wastes. With a bump, they finally landed in a most outlandish place. Stanley rubbed his eyes. Things were a blur. He felt around. A metal cage? Stinky birds with fur? The room was filled with squawking, gawking, squealing things galore. All for sale, including him, an alien pet store. Freaky customers shook his cage when Stanley tried to hide. A 3-eyed buyer said, "I'll take this one." Stanley was horrified. "My name is Jopner," he drooled and grinned. "I'll call you Zuzuzar. And just to keep you safe and sound, I'll put you in this jar." Stanley banged and kicked the jar. He yelled, "Hey, let me go. My name is Stanley. I'm not your pet. I'm just a kid, you know." Jopner said, "Now do some tricks. Fetch the orb. Bring it here. Catch the flying saucer as I fling it through the atmosphere." "I'll never do those stupid tricks, no matter what you say." Everything that Jopner asked, Stanley disobeyed. Jopner wondered, "What have I done to make my pet so mad? I'll give him lots of tasty food and a comfy sleeping pad." "This food is yucky," Stanley said. "I'm not a parakeet. I think I'll run away from here when Jopner falls asleep." Stanley opened the jar and tiptoed out and scampered off with glee. "I don't know where I'll go," he thought, "but at least I'm finally free. Yahoo!" Stanley watched the stars and longed for home. He shivered in the frost. Then something swooped and snatched him up. A giant iron moth. and it says Pet Control on it. The moth brought Stanley to the pound and dropped him in the clink, where strays not claimed by end of day are soon to be extinct. As the sun began to sink, Stanley's hopes were running out. The inmates wailed. Their final meal was rocks with sauerkraut. "I need a friend," said Stanley. "I really miss my pets. I wonder if they're missing me or if they will forget." The door burst open. Jopner yelled, "Hey, Zuzuzar, it's me. Just in time to save you all. Now let's go home. You're free." "Jopner?" "Thanks," said Stanley. "You saved my life. Friends like you are few. But I'm not happy in this jar or living here with you. My home is in a galaxy we call the Milky Way. I must get back. My pets have not been fed since Saturday." Jopner said, "I should return you to your native habitat." So they rented out a spaceship at the local Astromat. They took a shortcut to the Earth, a 20-minute flight. Stanley yelled, "Hooray, I'm home!" His house was now in sight. "Go free," said Jopner. "I have returned you to the wild. I must return to the Astromat. They charge me by the mile." Stanley waved goodbye and ran to see his long-neglected friends. "They must be starving, worried sick, wondering where I've been." Stanley opened every cage and said, "I'll offer you a deal. You're free to go, but if you stay, you'll never miss a meal." They're all thinking, He treated them like royalty. He made them lemonade. He thanked his lucky stars for all the friends he'd made. And Stanley's pets all stayed. The end. How did you like the story? Maybe you would like to write a story about someone finding empathy.